It's like the worst place to be. It's not like, that hurt, ow, I can't fight. It's, ow, that hurt, don't let that happen again. People always ask me, have you ever had to use your karate? Yes, I have. Bad driver, he gets out, she rolls her window down, start talking to him, and he punches her.
Through the window?
Through the window. She said her very first thought was, Mr. Boone hits me harder than that. Emotions are a fantastic thing, but sometimes they get in the way. You failed at plenty of things. How did you deal with it?
Hey there, business enthusiasts. Welcome to the Chills Podcast, brought to you by Allweather Roof. Because just like a sturdy roof, our conversations are built to last. I'm your host, Brent Loberg, and we're about to dive into the world of business, family, and the moments that give us those exhilarating chills. Ever wonder what keeps successful people inspired? Well, get ready to find out as we chat with some fantastic all-weather customers, partners, vendors, and friends. We'll explore their triumphs, challenges, and maybe even some unexpected secrets. After all, business is not just about numbers. It's about the people behind them. So grab your metaphorical popcorn and join us on this journey. Get ready to be inspired, maybe even get a few chills of your own. This is the Chills Podcast. Let the goosebumps begin. So introduce yourself.
All right, yeah, so my name is Joe Boone. I own and operate the Brooklyn Park / Maple Grove National Karate.
Okay.
I have been working with National Karate for 20 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I started there when I was 14. And been part of the company since 98 when I started classes there.
How old were you when you started classes?
I was 8.
So you started at 8 when you were 8. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever the year is, that's how old I am. So 98, I was 8.
Okay.
And it's the easiest thing to remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I started taking classes there, started working there at 14. I've taken classes at a few different locations, and I've worked at Shorewood, Eden Prairie, Plymouth, taught classes at Christoph, taught classes at a bunch of different locations. But always back to Brooklyn Park was kind of my home school. That was first job. I had other jobs, but always was teaching karate.
Mm-hmm.
And then became the manager in my early 20s, started running the school, ran a few locations before deciding I wanted to buy the school. And the owner had a bunch of different schools. He goes, "What, you want to buy this one or this one?" I'm like, "No, I want to buy Brooklyn Park." And it just worked out. I mean, from when we decided to do it to taking it over, it just happened. So that's where I'm at now.
And what year was that you bought that?
2019.
Okay.
Terrible time to buy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how did you end up getting into karate when you were 8?
Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles. Who was your favorite?
Donatello.
Donatello?
Yeah, I'm big, I like purple and I like the bow staff. So.
Okay.
Yep.
For me, it was Leonardo because I like the blue, but I actually like the staff of Donatello. So if I could mix the two.
Yeah. So, and that's what I made a living doing is bow staff. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And say the name of it. Is the name
National
of your...
Karate.
That's the name of your studio?
Yep. So it's a big organization. We have a trademark, so there's a lot of locations.
Mm-hmm.
Founded by Grandmaster Worley and Grandmaster Carnahan. They started the company 51 years ago now, and it's branched out quite a bit. We have schools in Florida, Chicago, Colorado, and Wisconsin. But this is where it started.
Okay.
And yeah, so I worked for the Worleys my whole life and then bought it in 2019. And my wife owns the Albertville School. Her parents owned St. Cloud and Sartell, and so she worked up there and eventually became the owner of those before starting her own in Albertville, which is where I grew up.
Sure.
And so when we got together and I moved in with her, I'm living back in my hometown where she had been living for a few years, but
I like it. And
Yeah.
I assume you guys met through karate somehow?
known her my whole life through karate, yep.
Yeah.
Known my in-laws my whole life through karate, so yeah.
Will shared with me you had a recent MMA fight.
Yeah.
How's
Yeah.
that going?
Man, so it looks like as of yesterday, I have another one set up,
Really?
June 29th. So the promoter was all about me trying to fight again because I sold a ton of tickets. I mean, just through the karate world, everyone who heard about it wanted to go, wanted to watch it on pay-per-view or whatever. Everyone wanted to see it, which was kind of strange. I have a big family, but it was like, oh, I'm going to do this fight. And I used to fight 10 years ago, and I always sold, a decent amount. I'd sell 100 tickets maybe.
Mm-hmm. You used to fight MMA 10 years ago?
No, it was kickboxing.
Okay,
so
kickboxing.
full contact, but not MMA.
Okay.
All stand up. And, then I had kids. And so you kind of take a back seat. And I was like, I think I'm going to be done. I always wanted to do another one. My wife said, hey, if you want to do another one, better do it now. Don't wait much longer, right?
Sure.
And
how old are you now?
34.
34. Okay.
Because it's 2024.
Yep.
Yeah. So she's like, well, if you're going to do it, let's do it now. So I started training for it, an MMA fight. The training is really the process. I mean, that's what you're really doing. That's where you grow. That's where everything builds. And then the fight is dessert. That's where you get to like showcase what you've been doing. That's the highlight. Put a lot of work in, worked with some guys at the cellar, had some guys from other karate schools coming in and working with me on my ground game. And I used to wrestle for St. Michael.
Also, you got the wrestling background too.
Yeah, those guys, you know, and they know how to wrestle. But I wasn't as good as like the guys on my team. The guys on my team were some of the best in the state. So
Well, I always say the belief. I've heard that the wrestlers kind of control where the fight's going to be.
absolutely.
So
Yeah. Although, as a karate guy, they always say, you know, well, you know, 70% of fights end up on the ground, which is kind of a messed up statistic because who's doing that data?
yeah,
And also, 100% of fights start on the feet.
yes,
That's what I always say.
100%.
But yeah, so I obviously, you know, I learned how to wrestle. So getting into this fight, I did a little MMA like workout. I'm like, man, this was fun. I think I want to do this. So we got into it. We did it. Found a promotion I liked. We did it out at Canterbury. It's Ignite Promotions.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and it was a blast. The promoter was great. He was, you know, helpful, gave me anything I needed, extra tickets. He put an extra table out because we sold all the upgraded seats. So all was left was general admission. But I had some people like, I want upgraded seats. So he put an extra table up for me. It was pretty sweet. And then afterwards, I mean, I sold like $10,000 in tickets, and I sold the most pay-per-views. The promoter was, it's like his best day he's ever,
Sure.
you know. So he's been trying really hard to get me to do another one, and I wasn't sure. Right after the fight, I was like, nope, I'm done, one and done. And then a couple days go by, I'm itching, maybe
Still
I
got
do.
the itch.
Yeah, you know. And he just messaged me like 2 days ago with an opponent. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said June 29th?
June 29th.
June 29th. So do you practice jujitsu then too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that was one of the first things he mentioned. He's like, well, do you do jujitsu? I'm like, not formally. I don't go to a jujitsu school, but I know jujitsu, and we have drills that we run. You know, he didn't want to be mismatched. He didn't want to put me against a grappler and not know what I was doing, which is great on him. He wants to make sure his fights are even. But I was like, you let me worry about that.
Yeah.
I'll get my training in. I'll make sure I'm good. So I didn't want to do this and not be ready. So
I suppose you got the striking, you got the wrestling. It's just a little bit of jujitsu defense.
yep, just make sure you don't get choked out. And my opponent was a Muay Thai fighter the first half of my training camp, and then he got injured. So then they put me with some jujitsu guy. I'm like, this changes things quite a bit, you know. Before it was kind of in the back of my mind. Now it's like, oh, this guy's definitely, we're going to the ground. And we went to the ground in about 10 seconds, which was not cool. I was totally.
He just went in for the takedown right away.
He knew he had to close the distance, and he was tall. He was 6'3", and 10 years younger than me too. And he closed that distance right away. And that cage gets real small, real quick.
Sure.
And I remember I picked my leg up, like, okay, here we go. Oh, he's too close for this. And we went to the ground. And my first thought was, wow, he did that so easy and so fast. He's going to be able to totally do that over and over and over again. And I was like panicked for about 10 seconds. And then he hit me in the face and everything.
While were you on your back?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was in mount. It's like the worst place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he hit me, I kind of, all right, well, you can't just lay here, right? You wake up, you know what to do, just do your work. And it took me a minute and a half of moving my hips, pushing off the cage, trying to tie him up from getting hit before I finally turned him over. So then I got on top. I got to do enough damage to maybe win the round. I think I lost the round, but other people told me I won it. But then second round, we go in. He's going to try to take me down again. And he was tired, which was great.
You could tell right away he was gassed
when he
out.
came in, I'm like, oh, he's tired. I could move him around a little better.
You said 6'2". I mean, tall guy.
6'3", yeah,
6'3",
yeah.
so gassed out fairly quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, trying to hold me down, it's a lot of work, right?
Sure.
To hold anyone down. So second round, he tried to get me down. He couldn't. I actually took him down, and then I let him back up. We fought for a bit, and once we were on the feet, I felt really good, really comfortable. As the round went on, more and more comfortable. And then I had him down, did ground and pound for the last 30 seconds. They almost ended the fight, but they let it go to a third round. He kind of saved by the bell, and then about 20 seconds in to the third round, they threw in the towel.
Just caught him with a couple punches or kicks?
Yeah,
or?
big side kick to the body that crumbled him, and then just right hand, and they threw it in. So
Oh, man.
it was good. I got to, third round come out, and I could see it in his face. He literally hunched over like before we started. Third round, we walk out, and he.
Oh, you could just see you defeated.
And I was ready. I was like, here we go. So really nice guy, and we went out. I took him out. We were at Canterbury, so we went to Mystic Lake afterwards. I took him out, like, hey, come on out. We'll have some drinks. And
Oh, cool.
I didn't want to be too like, all right, come here, young man, but
Sure.
I felt like that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I won $500 at playing blackjack too. So I was like,
Hey,
all right,
it's a
hey, what a
great
good
night.
night. Yeah.
Great night.
So it was a great night all around.
I love it. No, that's fun.
Yeah.
Fun to hear that.
Yeah. The adrenaline, man, after though, I mean, not just the adrenaline of the fight, but the whole 3 months of training comes to an end. And then you get a little like, well, now what? I've been like, all my focus has been on this fight for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
No drinking, no partying with my buddies, 7 to 8 workouts a week, doubling up workouts, constant, waking up at 5:30, go to the gym, and then it's over and you go, well, what now? A little bit of that, you kind of lose your purpose for a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
And is that where the itch came back in with
I
wanting
think
to
so.
fight again?
I think so.
So I questioned, I was an endurance athlete. I was a distance runner. I ran track and cross country, both in high school and college. So you got that
Yeah.
the pain, but different than what you have.
Yeah,
How do you get over,
still.
is there fear of injury, get knocked out, break your nose? Like that part of fighting always scared the shit out of me.
So what you do is you do what everyone else's punishment is for other sports.
Yeah,
So if you do something wrong in football, you go and run.
sure.
If you go do something wrong and you go run. You did that for fun.
Yep.
That's the whole reason I started combat sports, is if I ever have to run, I'm running at you
Okay.
because I hate running,
So, but no fear of
I've been getting punched since I was 8 years old.
okay.
It's totally different. You get just used to hands and feet coming at you and making a miss, and I've broken my nose quite a bit, if you look at it.
I just kind of see that.
Yeah.
But mine's crooked too, though. I've
Yeah,
never
but mine
broken
doesn't go this way, but it goes this way. Yeah, right?
The right-hander got you.
Yeah. It's been a knee, it's been a kick, it's been a headbutt. I've broken it 7 times, and it's no fun. One time I broke it twice in the same night.
Really?
Yeah.
2 different spots?
Yep, 2 different fights. No good. But yeah, you just, you get hit, and your adrenaline's going. You don't feel it when you're out there. I mean, you do go oh, I just got hit. All right, let's move. But it's not like that hurt. Ow, I can't fight. It's ow, that hurt. Don't let that happen again.
Yeah.
It's a little different when it's happening. And then after, he's like, oh, this hurts or this hurts. And luckily for me, the only thing that hurt was my knuckles. It's like the best thing to have hurt after a fight. It's what you want to have hurt.
Yep. So the name of the podcast is The Chill. So I always explain it like what makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up or on your arm within your business?
My business is a little different, right? Karate school. So running the business, if you think of it as a business, you can talk about it like with any other business owner. Mm-hmm. The difference is my product, is literally life-changing or life-saving. People always ask me, well, have you ever had to use your karate?
Yeah.
I've worked security in Minneapolis. Grew up in Brooklyn Center. I've had to use my karate plenty of times.
Yep.
But my favorite story is I had a student who was 25-year-old female from years ago, and she was a red belt, so she'd been doing it for 2 or 3 years. And she got in a road rage incident, so she got attacked. She pulls over, bad driver. He gets out. She rolls her window down to start talking to him, and he punches her.
Through the window?
Through the window. She rolls her window down. Boom, punches her in the face. And she said her very first thought was, Mr. Boone hits me harder than that. She rolls her window up. She gets this information down. And she came and told me, she's like, if I wasn't in karate, that punch would have leveled me. I would have started crying and screaming. I would have curled up in a ball. But it's not like she used her karate to get out and fight this full-grown man, which is not what I would teach her to do.
Yeah.
But she was comfortable in an uncomfortable situation.
To where she didn't even react.
She was able to remain calm, stay composed, get what needed to be done, handled, get his information down, instead of screaming, panicking, let the man get away, right? And I say, that was a big deal for me, Mike. So what we're teaching, again, it's not, oh yeah, you know how to do this. You're going to get out and you're going to block and punch and do this. No,
Yep.
that's unrealistic, right? And so, yeah, that always gave me the chills. And I tell that story anytime I do a self-defense seminar. I say, hey, listen, I'm teaching you these techniques. They're great. Somebody grabs you, do this. But really, we hold pads, we get hit. And I tell my students, someone's going to throw a punch at you, and you've had these fast people try to hit you. Black belts try to hit you. So when you go on the street and some guy winds up and throws, it's going to be slow motion.
Yeah.
Right? So what gives me the chills for sure is watching my product, which is teaching martial arts, watching it work in so many different aspects, depending on who it is, and watching people go from, I have a student who could not stand on one leg when he started. Literally could not pick one leg up for a second. And now he's getting ready to test for 4th degree black belt. he can pick up and do 50 round kicks in a row. I've watched
Mm-hmm.
him grow. I've watched, but man, to watch people, 5-year-old students, I've had 70-year-old students, to watch them grow, even a 7-year-old person, watch them grow
Mm-hmm.
is kind of strange.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But that's why we do what we do.
I like it.
Right.
I love the fact that there was like no reaction. She didn't get out and like
Oh,
want to
yeah.
punch the guy. It was
I
just
know,
like,
yeah. She
all
just,
right,
oh,
let's
well,
get your info.
here we go. I'm ready. And I say that a lot. We say, hey, I'm not teaching you how to be okay with getting hit, but you're going to be comfortable with being uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
so that you can remain calm and composed when a normal person wouldn't be. And if you can master that, well, then you'll never be rattled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can keep your composure, you're going to win at life,
Yeah,
right? Because emotions are a fantastic thing, but sometimes they get in the way.
for sure.
So, yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, any interesting stories or anything funny with the business that you've had since you started it, or funny stories?
I mean, I've been teaching martial arts since I was 14. And the thing about doing this is you have, kids come in and they start when they're 4 or 5 or 6. Some people start later as well. But let's say I have this 5-year-old. I'll teach them until they're 16 years old. So I'll see them for 11 years, 12 years, 10 years, 3 times a week. You get really close with them.
Mm-hmm.
They get their black belt. They get their second degree. You see them all the time. And then they have high school. And they have other things going on. And then they leave. And you just never see them again.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, there's new kids starting every day. So that 11 years, it just resets, but it's constant. It's not
Okay.
it's not 11 years and then a new 11 years. It's a constant. The 11 years starts every single day with
Yep.
a new kid, new kid, new kid. And that gets kind of tricky. Every once in a while you get someone, I got Mr. Bigia, Sean, he's been with me since he was 7, for 20 years. He's been with me since I started. When I was 14, he was in my class.
Okay.
And now he works with me, right? And I have Miss Blanchard, Sarah, same thing. She has a kid now. So it's a really weird thing. I mean, I don't think I'm that old,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been in the organization for so long that like I got kids, students who have kids.
Yeah. It's making life go by too fast.
It does. It really does. It's wild. And
Your wife is in the business.
she's a 6th degree,
She's 6th degree black belt.
Black belt.
How about you?
6th degree as
You
well.
both are 6. Okay.
Yeah. We're 2 of the youngest 6th degrees. And she owned before I did. She was like, I think the youngest owner in the company's history. But yeah, my wife has been doing this for forever, which is really great. And my mother-in-law,
Oh, okay.
right? She owns St. Cloud and Sartell with my father-in-law.
How about so you have wife, 2 kids?
3 kids.
3 kids.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have Royce,
I
my
met,
oldest. Yeah, you met Royce. He is 7.5. Well, his birthday, wow. Well, he's almost 8 in June.
Okay.
Yep. He'll be 8 in June. And then I have Noel, who will be 5 in August.
Okay.
And then William, who's my youngest, who just turned 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always research a little bit of the guests before they come in. I looked at your Instagram. I saw the cute pictures of your kids in the karate gis
Oh, yeah.
on your Instagram. Super cute.
Yeah, those are awesome. So actually, we've known this girl who works at Bold Look. She's our rep. Her name's Carol. She's fantastic. Bold Look is a company who makes our uniforms. And she found out me and Krista were having a baby, and she sent us a little pink uniform. We're like,
Adorable.
this is the best thing ever. So then when we were having William, I'm like, hey, Carol, we're having another kid, but it's a boy. And she's like, oh, yeah. She was all excited about it. But like the first time she just sent it, second, I'm like, we have to get another photo. So we got to tell her. So like when we weren't telling everybody, we had to tell Carol at Bold Look.
So the reason I was bringing that up is like the chills moment with your family or kids. Is there?
When Royce started karate, I was going to wait because I didn't start till I was 8. And we do start at 4. And I was like, I want him to really want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make him do it and have him, I got to go to karate, which I had those days.
Yeah.
It happens, right?
For sure.
I don't want to go to karate
It's
every day.
life.
Yeah, I tell the kids when they don't want to go, like, I didn't want to come today.
Yeah.
Staying at home, play video games sounds great.
Yeah.
But you got to show up. We made a commitment. So I wanted to wait, but one day we were at the school and it was like snowstorm out, so nobody showed up. And Royce, let's put a uniform on. And we went out and we started, and it was pretty cool to tie on my son's white belt.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the other 2, Chris is like, hey, well, we're going to get them started. I'm like, absolutely. So they all started watching them. Now, William hasn't done a tournament yet, but Royce and Noel have both done tournaments. We have this big tournament in October called the Diamond Nationals. It's one of the biggest tournaments in the country. And we work it all weekend. It's like the busiest time of our life, of our whole year. And I do the setup for it, all the mats, all the rings, all the music system, all that stuff. And Krista is the coordinator of all of the coordinators.
Okay.
Right? So there's all the judges at each ring, And then there's coordinators who are in charge of 5 rings. She's in charge of the coordinators, right?
Okay.
We're busy. But watching my kids compete at the Diamond Nationals is such a wild thing. Royce is 7, compete at the Diamonds. Almost got disqualified for excessive head contact.
Okay.
That's my boy.
I love it.
I'm like, Royce, ooh. So this is the best. I go, hey, Royce, he's hitting to the head really hard. And hey, you can't hit to the head. You can, but watch your contact to the head. And I go, hey, Royce, easy on the head, buddy. You can hit to the body, but not the head. And he goes, wham, and laid this kid out to the body. I'm like,
Really?
it's pretty
That's
cool.
my boy.
And the kids, they're all
love it.
padded up. They're not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
But it was cool. But
For
to
sure.
watch that, because I remember competing at Diamonds when I was his age.
Yeah.
And now I'm watching my kids compete at Diamonds. That's a pretty amazing.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty amazing. So,
I love it.
yeah. There's an old picture of me and my wife competing against each other.
No way. You guys
Also-
were in the same match?
Well, we
From back in the
were
day?
fighting. She don't want that smoke. We were doing form. We were doing form, and me and my brother did team form, and her, I think it was Cassie, but they were doing a team form. And so it was 2007 Diamond Nationals. I posted this picture because me and my brother won. There's a picture of us on stage, and she's right next to me, like trying to shake my hand, and I was just like about to turn and. But I had this picture posted forever, and I didn't think, oh yeah, that's Krista. It was just, I know Krista. It was posted
Sure.
on my Facebook. Then we get married. It pops up. I go, oh, hey, look at that.
That's my wife.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
By the way, your kid gave me the chills coming in. You have a 12-year-old boy. His name's Bodie, and I always, since he was a kid, look eye. Always look eye.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when he shook my hand coming in, you
Yeah.
said he's only 7.
Yep. 7 years old.
Looked me in the eye, shook my hand. So
Yep.
Good job, Dad.
Yeah. Well,
And
you know
Mom.
what? He's a pretty great kid, and all my kids do that. We make sure. I mean, one, because it's a first impression, which is a big deal. But also in karate, we shake hands all the time. Anytime they get a promotion, when we first meet them, I always make sure, hey, eyes up here, look at me. We always do that. And small things, if you pay attention to the small things, then the big things get easy, right? I mean, I know I can get you to keep your hand up. This is easy. But can you make a tight fist and have your other hand here? And not just here, but palm up, right here, right where it's supposed to be. Everything, all the small things. And teaching someone how to kick and punch is great. Teaching them how to defend themselves, fantastic. But teaching them how to carry themselves and have the confidence, and what we teach is how to set a goal, work towards it. More importantly, what happens when you fail at that goal. You don't quit. All right, hey, you can be upset, you can take a day, but guess what happens next week? We're going to start working hard to get back into it. Failure happens. Happens in every aspect. You failed at plenty of things.
Yep.
So have I. We all have. How did you deal with it? Maybe not the best. Well, now we're working on how to overcome that. So anytime a student comes in, I tell them the first thing I tell them is, say, hey, at some point in your training, you are going to fail. It's just part of what happens. My best students I have, they might be the best one on the exam, but they could have been better. So we're going to hold you back. And you should see them after that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very important part of life, and the kicking and punching is almost secondary. What we're really teaching you is the discipline, setting a goal, working towards it, overcoming failure, having that confidence when you walk in a room. All that stuff is what we're really about. That's what, and any martial art will tell you that. You want to be able to have all this power, have all this skill and confidence, and retain it and control it, and that's what being a martial artist is all about.
Very cool. So I guess that leads into a good question, like tidbit of information you can share with the audience of starting a business, running a business, now that you've been doing this for 6 years?
Holy smokes, yeah.
Yeah.
The number one thing I tell people is figure out what you're good at and figure out what you're not good at, which is more important. And then try to find people and surround yourself who are good at that, what you're not good at, right? So for me, I can run a school. I can run a school really well. I've done that my whole life. But now taking on this ownership, big new can of worms.
For
but
sure.
I have these people in my corner who've done it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what do I do with this? Boom, boom, boom. They've done it. They've handled it. They've dealt with any issue
Yeah.
I can think of, right? So I can run a class really well. I can talk to people. I can sell. I can do all that stuff. When it comes to being organized and making sure, I get this done and pay this and do this and schedule this, that's not how my brain works. I don't like doing it.
Sounds like me.
I procrastinate that stuff.
Yeah. You Procrastinate the stuff you don't like
Yes.
or you're not good at.
I'm like a world champion at procrastinating, that kind of stuff, right? So I find, I already brought her up, Sarah Blanchard. She was my student who turned into my assistant. And she was always on me. And she'd be like, hey, you got to do this. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do this. Eventually, she got into a role where she could just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's actually her aunt runs my office. And she's the same way. She's like, hey, you got to do this. You got to do this. Make the test list. Order the belts. This person needs gear. And now she's figured the role out where she can do most of that stuff. I go, good. Because that's not what I want to do. I'm really good at this. I'm going to do this, so.
I like it.
Yeah.
So favorite fight movie?
Oh, my goodness. Favorite fight movie? Well, I think it was 2 days ago. It was Jackie Chan's 70th birthday.
Okay.
Jackie Chan, who is the GOAT, he did this movie called Legend of the Drunken Master.
Okay.
It is one of the best martial arts movies of all time. And everybody knows he does his own stunts. And you see that movie, it is phenomenal, the things he could do. So, Legend of the Drunken Master. There's a newer movie, it's probably 10 years old now, called The Raid Redemption.
Is that with Jackie as well?
No.
No.
But that movie, The Raid Redemption, it's rated very R. It's very violent. It is outstanding martial arts sequences. And then...
So you're able to actually critique these, and they're like real scenes? Like,
yeah. And, I've had students say, man, I was watching this martial arts movie. It's a lot different. Now that I know, I'm like, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I grew up, And then probably Ong Bak with Tony Jaa, who when I first saw that movie, I was absolutely blown away by what this man can do. He can do some pretty amazing things. Yeah, there you go. Ong Bak, The Raid Redemption, and Legend of the Drunken Master.
All right.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Karate Kid for me was when you're younger, you want to be Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And now as you're a dad, like, hey, I'm Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Look, I.
Yeah. Look, I.
All right, last bonus question.
Okay.
Favorite MMA fighter?
Favorite MMA fighter is probably George St. Pierre.
Okay. I was going to say Wonder Boy.
I love Wonder Boy. I love watching Wonder Boy fight. I love Robert Whitaker.
Yeah.
MVP's just jumping in. He's a point fighter. He does my style.
Yep. I know
All
MVP.
right? And I never fought MVP. I fought guys who have fought in him.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Raymond Daniels, Ross Sabine, all these guys. I mean, so I like watching the karate style for sure. Machida, all those guys.
Yep.
But GSP was a karate guy too.
Yeah.
But he really took the sport, adapted. I liked his demeanor, the way he trained. I don't follow celebrities, but I follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like following GSP. He still works out, still does
He
his
still
thing.
does it.
He's the man. John Jones, I was at John Jones, one of his very first fights, live. I saw it. It was in Minneapolis. And I knew he was going to be something special. He's in the news right now. He just got arrested.
Sure. I saw that.
It's always in the news.
Yep, exactly.
But, I'm trying to separate the artist from the art, right?
Yeah,
He's
for
done
sure.
some questionable things. We've all done questionable things in our life. I don't get arrested every other week, but...
By the way, when John Jones fought Leota and he choked him when Leota was
Yeah.
standing up and he just lets him go and he just
Yep.
drops.
Well, that first round was the first time John Jones ever lost a round. Like, no one had ever been able to do what Leota was doing.
Yeah.
Leota was out here, get in, get out, get in, get out, which is karate style. That was awesome to watch. I'm like, oh, and I mean, I had all my money on John because he's amazing, but
Yep.
Machida's doing it. And then John's like, all right, no, we're done with this. Yeah. Timed it, stepped in, got the choke. That was pretty amazing. I remember I was in La Crosse, Wisconsin at Buffalo Wild Wings watching that fight. I'll
Yeah.
never forget that. Yeah. Anderson Silva. It's hard to pick a favorite. My favorite is GSP. But that era, really from the Matt Hughes to probably, John Jones is part of that era. But all that GSP and the Randy Couture and all that stuff. But watching, that's kind of the old, like the Chuck and the Randy and the Tito. That was good. But then when, and then it kind of went into Rich Franklin, Matt Hughes. But then like the Forrest Griffin era, the Rashad, Diego, like all that
Diego
whole era.
Sanchez?
Yeah. That era was awesome. The Ultimate Fighter really
Yeah.
put it on the map. That was when I was 15, 16. That's when I really started watching it.
Sure.
Really good. And then I did went back and watched all the old stuff.
Yep.
But that was growing up, watching that era was pretty sweet. And then right when I kind of like the Connor, which Connor did amazing things with the
He
sport,
did.
but that really did change the era and the game. And that was kind of, I don't want to say lost interest, but that's when I stopped watching every single event. Was kind of around that time, just because I also had kids. I was just busy. And now the last couple of years I've gotten to all right, kids are a little older. Hey, Saturday, we're downstairs, we're watching fights. And
Yep.
You can come and watch, or you can go upstairs. But,
Yeah.
getting back into it.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I like it. Well, yeah. Good
Wow.
stuff. Well, this was fun.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. This was cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap, folks. A huge thank you to our incredible guests and, of course, Allweather Roof for making this podcast possible. If you enjoyed these conversations as much as we did, don't forget to hit subscribe and share the chills with your fellow business aficionados. Remember, it's not just about business, it's personal, and it's all about the people. Stay inspired, chase those dreams, and let the chills guide you. Till next time, this is Brent, signing off from the Chills Podcast. Catch you on the flip side.